welcome back to another Shakespeare chat, as opposed to a Shakespeare review.
And look who we're interviewing. Cast members from Comedy of Errors from Shakespeare North Theatre. It's one of the most zaniest productions you're ever likely to see.
It absolutely is. You may remember we did a review a few days ago. We gave it a 10-star review all the way around. It's possibly the best thing we've seen at the Shakespeare North. And these guys have definitely got imposter syndrome, because I don't really think they know who they are, and I don't think we really know who they are. So we're going to get them to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about their part in the show.
Well, I'm Ollie Mawdsley, and I play Dromio of Prescot in the show. So I'm one of the characters that comes from Prescot and goes to Scarborough, and gets caught up in all the confusion with the two sets of twins.
Still going with the twins. I'm David Kirkbride. I play Antipholus of Scarborough, at least one of them. Who lives and works in Scarborough, a bit like a end of a pier style bad singer, who gets mixed up with his twins. You have to undersell it.
Raise your level.
Now, I'm very aware that by the time you've watched this, it's probably finished in the Shakespeare North.
Yeah, because the last running date, guys, 25th?
25th, yeah.
Night.
Which is tomorrow. But it goes on, doesn't it? It goes on, and it's actually, it starts on the 30th of March.
That's right. In the 15th of April at the Stephen Joseph Theatre in Scarborough.
And what a beautiful theatre that is.
Yes.
Gorgeous building.
Old converted cinema.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it was apparently the very first theatre in the round in the UK.
It was. In its first iteration. Yeah. It's on its third iteration.
Yes, because it's opened a few times. Reopened, but it's,
It goes back to 1955, is that correct?
I think so.
You know more.
We're telling in facts now.
Wikipedia. That's the thing. Wikipedia. Now, the reason we're here is very unusual, because we don't normally interview cast members of anything. In fact, this is the first time we've done it. But Oliver entered our competition. Remember last time where we did a competition about the Forbidden Planet, and he got the answer right, which is actually the Forbidden Planet is, and they've got badges, and they've got beer mats as well.
Coasters, Phil. Coasters
or beer mats, and
they will be used as
that was their prize, which aren't even available at the moment. So they contacted us, and we contacted them and said, "Would you like to do a chat?" So that's how we're here. And the Forbidden Planet, the connection to the Shakespeare North is that it's an interpretation of The Tempest by William Shakespeare. It's a loose interpretation, a bit like Comedy of Errors. It's a loose interpretation of Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors. It's more or less comedy.
More or less.
So it was an interpretation, and the interesting thing about that, from a sci-fi point of view, is that Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, used Forbidden Planet as an inspiration for Star Trek.
Now,
without William Shakespeare.
Now, I imagine you knew that.
No.
You googled it.
Okay.
Well,
So if I tell you that without William Shakespeare there would be no Star Trek,
Wow.
And there's actually a Wikipedia page that puts together the connections between Star Trek and William Shakespeare, and there's a lot of them, by the way. Even the episodes are Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world we live in, the very fabric of our existence. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it. If it hadn't have been for William Shakespeare. So that's the connection to that.
Okay.
Anyway,
so let's get back now to Comedy of Errors.
Comedy of Errors. It is rather bonkers, isn't it? It's
fabulous. Absolutely kills.
I mean, the original is bonkers. The actual Shakespeare, and it's all over the place as well. And it's trying to read it is, sometimes pulling teeth. But it's funny because when I'd read it years ago, and then we got this version, I was like, No, I kind of find it a bit clearer, even though it does go ladder. I kind of get where the switches are and what the confusion and how easy it can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've loved it. We've absolutely loved it.
It's been so sparkly. I mean, they use the original structure of it as well. So whenever there's moments of Dromio taking the mick out of Antipholus, although they don't use the original Shakespearean jests because they aren't that funny nowadays. They just use a lot of tall jokes or bald jokes.
Or bald jokes,
Yes.
That's a good one.
We were coming down in the car and we saying, what's the characters' names again? Antipholus, Antiphasis, and all this. And there's a thing, the Fast Show is being shown on BBC iPlayer, and they've got a sketch in that called The Unpronounceables.
I said if I can get a top guy, you'll be doing life in Alcatraz. A Cakeatraz.
Alcatraz.
The Unpronounceables. What do you want, Nick?
Yeah, how about all chugs of vacuum beers?
Yeah, give me a bottle of chai. No, it's a it's heißt, because the beginner have a Polish beer. Yeah,
So we've
It's all about
the unpronounceable.
these characters are the unpronounceables because they really are. If you see them written down, it's a bit mad. So the show is very much like that. It's in that vein. I say it's a surreal Monty Python-ish type of thing going on.
I never thought of Monty Python
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. It's very. So how did the show develop then? I mean, how did you get all this 80s theme?
So the Paul Robinson, who's the director at Stephen Joseph, has worked with the lovely Nick Lane, who wrote Christmas Carol here. Christmas show. Yes, so Nick Lane's the same writer. So Nick Lane and Elizabeth Godber, who is John Godber's daughter, but is a wonderful writer and is stunning and has basically a lot of experience in Shakespeare. She understands it. She reads it a lot.
She's doing a PhD in Shakespeare, isn't she? So she really
she's a Shakespeare professional.
So so Paul got basically Elizabeth and Nick together and went, we think this might work, and we've got some ideas. And so then they threw around the idea of making it a musical. So the 80s thing came about. And then there was a discussion about bringing it here. And so then, of course, it was like, well, let's make it Scarborough and Prescot. You know, I think
that connection is fab, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like
That's
that.
a fab connection.
It's just a nice. It also just gives it a little bit. If you don't know the play or if you haven't experienced the Shakespeare version, it gives you an idea of what it is. It's just two people who are on the opposite sides of the world or country who are getting confused for each other.
Exactly.
So Scarborough and Prescott is as good a place as any.
Yeah.
What's the original one?
Ephesus and Syracuse.
Yes.
I can't even say that. So
Yes.
I can only remember the Ephesus part. Don't ask me the other one.
Yeah. We're not talking about National Theatre actors here. We're not talking about Shakespearean RHS.
No, we're talking about
the
true
RHS.
Some of us have been on the national stage. Let's not. I've been on the national stage. Let's not. He's been on many a stage.
Let's not undersell it.
No, we're trying not to undersell it.
No, but I personally thought it was a fabulous production. I was just blown away, absolutely, and I think you delivered it magically. It was wonderful.
I think it was the teamwork, wasn't it?
Teamwork, all the cast.
Really worked well,
Brilliant.
didn't it? It came together.
I was going to say, I think that's been one of the joys of this particular show is that the cast as a group have worked so well. It's a real ensemble piece. It doesn't feel like anyone does more than anyone else. Everybody is part
You
of...
seem like you're all gelling and coming together cohesively.
Yeah, it's great. And we had a really lovely night last night. There was a school group full of very young girls, 9 years old.
Wow.
Yep. And as you can imagine, this play has a bit of swearing in it. But they'd been forewarned, all of this stuff, and they were all there, and they loved it. And they were singing along.
Yeah.
They all knew Material Girl, weirdly enough. Yeah. All of them knew Madonna, 9-year-olds all singing.
Loved it. Been rehearsing.
We loved it. So we were having a chat, but it's funny because a lot of the Shakespeare stuff is genuine questions to an audience, and if you can, usually, if you look at someone and ask them, a lot of the adults in theatre go, just kind of stare back at you. I asked one of these girls a question last night. I went, "Is my name Antipholus?" And she went, "Yeah, it is." And so then I went, "Thank you. Yeah, I think it is to me as well." And suddenly you have reaction. I was like, "That's what this space is about. It's getting more, having them in and
absolutely
them in."
And breaking those inhibitions away from the adults is very difficult. But
and they're so close as well.
Close proximity. Yeah.
And I think it's that name Shakespeare, isn't it? As soon as you say Shakespeare to people, the barriers go up and get all.
I don't get
But
it.
I think the way you delivered that, I mean, I know that the comedy of errors is comedy, but the way you delivered it, that already is breaking down them barriers because it's inviting. It's very inviting for people to come in, adults and kids, and see that one night and think, "This is amazing. Now I get what Shakespeare's about." You know, and they start breaking it down.
We were saying there was one of our best notes was the director went, "If you can make the Shakespeare sound like Nick Lane and Elizabeth's words, and if you can make Nick and Elizabeth's words sound like Shakespeare, we'll have done our job." So if you can't see the breaks in between, they won't know what Shakespeare. Not weirdly, there's a lot more Shakespeare in this than you think. It's just because we run it off 2 lines of modernness, and then we'll do 6 lines of Shakespeare, but it all sounds similar, so that everyone goes, "Oh, actually, I do get that." It's not out of my comfort zone to understand it.
Exactly.
Instead of schools and colleges where they sit down.
The way they teach it, we did it in school. It was just read by page.
I know it's very dry and stuff. I think that's it. I think it's when you go to the theatre and you watch Shakespeare, it's all about watching the actors, and the actors tell the story more than the words. I mean, the words are there, and they can be, if it's just it's flat. It can be just like
very
switch
dry.
off.
Very dry.
But you watch the actors and their reactions between and the relationships between each character and stuff like that. You can easily pick it up, and a good Shakespearean play does
that.
I think there's a tendency with Shakespeare anyway, just to go into purism, like it's Shakespeare's original words and that's it, and they refuse to do anything else with it. And actually,
which is a bit stifling.
It is a bit stifling, and like Shakespeare's language is really important. Shakespeare nicked most of his stories from other people, so it's not the storylines that we love, but it's his expression of human of human emotion, of characters that you can attach to, and the beauty of the language. But that doesn't mean that we should revere it as some sort of godlike thing. It needs to be kept relevant, otherwise it's pointless.
Of course.
Totally.
Well
it's like
said.
reading an ancient Greek.
Yes, absolutely. I was about to say as well, how have you found playing at the Shakespeare North? I mean, as an experience.
It's been wonderful.
Like the space itself is gorgeous. And in fact, today was the first time we've been here a month, and we finally went and sat and watched the video. We should watch how this was built. Actually,
haven't really had
all the
time
skills
before
they
now.
use, the traditional skills,
and it's gorgeous, and you can feel it in there. It's very rare. I mean, there's only a few theatres that I can think of that have kind of like that wooden acoustic, that kind of like where you can click your fingers and you can hear it bounce back. It's a very specific sound and noise, and it's gorgeous. And I mean, it's in the round at the moment. I think it's going to get changed back into end on kind of stuff, which changed it again.
Apparently, it's taking a month this time to change it over because they've never changed it back before. And the arch that they use, they were saying weighs something like, what did they say, 4 tons or something. So they are giving themselves a month to change it back from in the round to.
Because they haven't done it that way.
But it's a gorgeous space, and especially, I mean, you can. When you're on stage, you can see everybody's eyeballs. Doesn't matter how far up they are. You can see. You can literally do an eyeball of everyone. That's very different as well. Because suddenly there's nowhere to hide.
Does that put you on edge more? Because the distance is...
I was just going to take us back to the opening night.
It was wonderful.
So
much. I mean, again, it's back to Shakespeare. I mean, we open with the Northern Chorus, which you said in your review was very much Shakespearean,
traditional,
a little bit Greek. The Greek chorus and the Henry V and a few other ones, including early versions of Taming of the Shrew, which have like these introduction sort of choruses. So it was very much like that, and you need an audience for that to work. And for the soliloquies, when an actor is on stage by themselves, if you're just like looking at a wall, there's no connection there. And we're actors, we want that human connection because that allows us to engage more. So it was great having an audience.
That's brilliant.
I mean, I tell you what, it added 10 minutes as well, because we've been running it in rehearsals, and of course we just crack on. But then suddenly you have to hide a laugh. So suddenly someone laughs very heartily at something, you go, Wait, because they won't hear this very important line before I can move on. No, it's been gorgeous, and the audiences here have been absolutely wonderful. And it just feel, I mean, I had a lady come over the other day, and she just grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, and she just went, "Now listen here." I was like, "Yes, and she was like, "Please tell me that you're from Prescot." And I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm not even from Scarborough. And she was like, but they loved it. They'd come, they'd had a night out, and they've come again, and they've brought all their friends, and they're all having singing and dancing and all this. And it's great. It's one of them kind of ones where you want that reaction. You want people to want to come back, not be put off by, oh, it's a Shakespeare. Because it's all Shakespeare North. But if they go, hey, you know what, we saw that comedy of ours, maybe we will give Macbeth a try. Maybe we will give the next one a try, because that one was a bit mad, wasn't it? And we all had a giggle. It's just... And then if it is completely different, if Macbeth is by candlelight and full of blood, but suddenly they've seen two very different plays, and they go, oh, maybe I will come to the next one.
That's what you need.
That's what
getting your hooks in early.
Gateway into it all, isn't it? I was just going to say about ad-libbing and stuff like that. Do you get much chance for ad-lib? Is everything?
No.
Is it
there isn't any.
There's not as like there's a bit of smaller bits of ad-libbing that the audience isn't necessarily meant to hear. It's meant to sound like just little bits of hubbub on stage. But in terms of main lines that you project out, there's none, because you can't in comedy. Everything has to be tight. If it's not tight, the whole thing falls apart.
Yes.
And it's a long run, isn't it? It's 3 hours with a short. So you guys are up there for that amount of time. You've really got to be spot on.
Spot on. And as I suppose there's an aspect of it, you being drained at the end of it.
How is it? I mean, it's a long run in terms of how many nights.
It's 3 hours, isn't it?
This week we're doing 8 shows in 5 days.
Because it started on the 3rd. Was it the 3rd of March?
It was the 3rd. Yeah, 3rd of March.
Yeah. Had any days off in between?
A couple here and there.
Random Mondays.
So it's a long stint.
It is. And then we've got another 2 weeks in Scarborough. I think we're doing something like 65 shows in all. Something like that, 65 shows.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate the amount of work that's involved in putting on a production like this, and it
also
is
like
draining.
Like backstage. So we have this wonderful girl called Emma, who basically runs our backstage, and because of the way the space is built, there's not a lot of places you could do quick changes, a lot of places for costumes or props. So Emma is never off her feet, because she has to get someone changed in one of the entrances you've walked in, then take that gear and move it, and then put it in place for someone else, and take that gear in case someone comes out for a beer or a wee and knocks over. So she works about 90% more than us, but that's the only way that those things. You've got to have a team that's that tight and working.
She wears a little pedometer on her wrist, and
See how many steps?
she does about 9,000 steps per show.
You need to do 10 per day.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just wonder about the props and how that works, because what I noticed is the magician, the Arthur Strong the character came up, and he's just crazy with all them.
I'd forgotten.
It's kind of like that craziness, and he gets all his stuff out the bag. But I noticed he dropped the prop under the chair. I was tempted, because I was close to it, just pick it up and say, "Excuse me," and then you picked it up and you ran off with it. It was a knife or something, wasn't it?
He picks it up.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And that's what it's supposed to happen.
It was supposed to happen. But it was just that just you got a sense of this is really well thought out. This is really. There's nothing left to chance.
No, you can see
that bag of props has gone through a myriad of different things. So when we were rehearsing, we suddenly came out of the rehearsal room once, and there was just about 5 different suitcases, different inflatable animals, parrots, body parts, like just everything. And they were like, "What do you need at? What would you like in this, Andy?" And so Andy chose specifically, right, what's going to look for, or what could he use? And then we actually have, so our musical director, Simon, is part of the Magic Circle. So the the thingy trick. That's a real trick that he had to teach him, which is a real mechanised kind of thing, which is great.
Yes.
I mean, Andy was very nervous right up until the day he learnt it. He was like, I don't do magic. I don't do And Simon's like, it's fine. Look, I can show you, and then we won't say anything.
You know, you've got a 3-hour play to perform, and you just concentrate. I don't do this magic.
Yeah. I've got to sing them songs in a bit. Do a dance move.
Well, what I'd like to ask you, how did you find? I mean, the way it's set is really quite a small, compacted space. It's done traditionally to how it would have been.
Yeah.
How did you find the challenge of actually presenting on that space? Did it throw out any difficulty, or was it just
falling off the side is always quite because it's raised here when it's in the round.
Yeah.
So and the drops down, especially where the stairs are,
where they are
quite steep. Quite steep, kind of if you fell off.
But you managed to
I mean,
quite gracefully, gracefully override them obstacles.
I did fall off the stage during one of the dress rehearsals.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm the only person so far. Not down the 12-foot drops, just down a 2-foot drop.
Because one of us going to back that up was you must have some acumen as actors to actually deal with a space, whatever space is thrown at you.
Yeah.
So
It's also I think you were saying about having when you get an audience in.
Yeah.
That's also changes your character completely.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I know one of my characters now his tempo is much higher, but it means that I'm constantly looking around. I'm very aware that if I just spoke to you, all of these guys are going to get a bald spot on the bum. That's all they're going to get for 2.5 minutes. So you have to find a reason to constantly be turning. So when you do see a show in the round, you can see people are always moving. It's even just something of I need to move that way because I'm blocking Ollie, and the person behind me.
So you're
always conscious of kind of like floating and moving to, and you realise, you know, maybe there's an empty seat over there, so you go, great, I can put it back to them for a bit. And you're constantly changing depending on the audience.
So it's like the psychology of how you're trying to project to people,
isn't it? And it changes, and that's
interesting.
what we love about theatre. It's because it changes every night. So we had a friend in last night who'd seen it for the relaxed performance, which was a very different one. It was very much for people with special needs, people who wanted to come and kind of experience it. So the music was a bit lower. The lights were a bit dimmer, everything. There was chill out areas. She came to that and loved it, and then last night came when it was rammed full of kids and a lot of adults all kind of having a drink and screaming and cheering. And she was like, it was a completely different show. But they were both brilliant, but completely miles apart, you know. But it's the same for the audience. If you come again and you sit in a different seat, you're seeing a completely different show.
Absolutely.
Because we viewed it on the night we came from.
Well, we moved our seat
over
because there was a few empty seats. I know.
We moved to a nice space.
There's empty seats over there, so let's see if we can move over there.
You viewed it differently,
It was a totally different experience as well as
fabulous.
I was talking to the architect, because we met him when the theatre opened. And he was saying that this experience of this cockpit style is actually based on a theatre in London, and it's the closest
that you're going to get
experience that you'll ever get
authentically,
authentic Shakespearean theatre, because it's based upon actual architectural designs of Inigo Jones theatre around. So that's quite amazing.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It's quite an amazing.
It's beautiful. Absolutely. I think it must be a real thrill to play.
It is,
isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I heard about this back in 2016. I was like, I really want to work there, but I probably won't have the chance for another 10 years. So, like in the first year, like,
amazing,
over the moon.
Oh, that's fun.
And because I'm from Liverpool as well, it's the first time I've actually performed anywhere close to Liverpool since I graduated from drama school. In fact, like 15 years ago.
Ollie has some kind of family or friend member in.
Teachers from schools, from secondary school, teachers from primary school, some of my students that I teach, some of the family members, friends who just have to be close by. It's been fantastic. It's been a bit overwhelming, to be honest.
That's amazing. That's
and
really good.
I know you said in an email to me that you'd actually used some of the Born and Raised in Prescott videos.
That's how we as research. Genuinely. We genuinely did. Ollie was like, so when we got cast, we were both emailing each other, kind of going, look, have you had a look at these Prescot accents? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I've got a lot of friends from Liverpool, but they keep on saying something about Prescot, and I don't know what that is. So he...
And you think you all talk Scouse?
Yeah. So Ollie then sent them videos of himself. So that's all we did. So we were watching and kind of scribbling down on the script and going like, so it's not quite that, it's going to be that. It's not quite that, it's going to be that.
Yeah.
And then, but
That's really
So just bending it slightly, it gives that little bit of respect to that language.
Yeah,
It's also, we were...
because in
Yeah.
rehearsals, we had an accent coach who kind of came in for half an hour here and half an hour there just to help us pin it down. And the first one, she was like, well, historically in the 1980s, it would have been much more Lancashire,
More broad.
broader,
Yeah.
you know, on
Yeah.
edge of woolly back sort of
Yeah.
country. So
This is the Wild West
yeah.
area we're talking
Yeah.
about here. This is like the frontier land between Lancashire and Scouse, like that, you know.
and we
And it
experimented.
can get a little...
Oh, it can get a bit touchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But because we wanted to draw as large a distinction between Yorkshire and Lancashire, which has quite a few overlapping
Yes.
Yeah.
vowel sounds,
Yeah.
and we needed to try and make sure that the twins were definitely
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
in as many ways as possible.
Yes.
We ended up going down a slightly
yes.
more Scouse influenced
Yes.
route without going full on
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Scouse.
can
I think
understand
you
that.
did fabulous with that.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I didn't get the connection with Scarborough. We should have done a research on the theatre, and then we would have got the
Yeah.
reaction. Because Scarborough is one of our favourite places,
Yeah.
and it's a place. Of course, we went there a couple of years
back. Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
the Anne Bronte's buried there.
Of course,
and
yeah.
that's kind
We're
of
big
like,
Bronte fans.
We're big Bronte fans, so we went to see Anne's grave and
Yeah.
and
Lovely
Fish and
Andy.
chips.
Lovely Andy, who's in this cast, is
Yeah.
from Scarborough, and when
Right.
and one of our days off, he took us round and did his lovely tour, and obviously took us where lovely Alan Ayckbourn lives, took
Yes.
us to Bronte's grave,
Yeah.
took us up all of the coast and stuff.
It's a
and
beautiful coastline.
It's great.
Yeah,
There's
it's gorgeous.
so much history
Lovely.
in
Yeah.
that kind of area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also just a big art. I mean, we ended up going to a jazz night, which is like
Yeah.
an underground under a
Yeah.
pub that you would
Which
never
is-
be there. That's been there for 80 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all of those different areas and connections and. Yeah, the stage, the black and white stage that you see in here, is based on the amphitheatre in Scarborough, the outdoor theatre.
The part of the spa, which is
spa.
mentioned
Yeah.
in the show.
Really?
So that's what it's based
Yeah,
on.
when we chat about
Wow.
the spa and the show, getting to the spa and getting to the Search for a Talent show, that at summer they have live readings, they have orchestras and everything, and so it's one of them strange things where it's here that everyone goes, Scarborough, yeah, but I've never heard of Scarborough. Don't know that. Whereas in Scarborough they're going to look at the floor and go, hey, I've been there. It's so it's nice, it kind of pulls in those both kind of elements.
And of course, when you watch this video, it probably
I think
it
we've
will have
forgotten about the
finished.
viewers.
I know, yeah, it will have finished by the time you see this video. So I would definitely recommend a trip to Scarborough
Yes.
for a weekend
Yeah.
and to see it, to see the performance again, or possibly for the first time in Scarborough, because it is a
So
magnificent show.
just give your running dates again for when you leave here and you're on to Scarborough.
So we leave here on the 25th of April. Oh, 25th of March. Oh God, you should do this.
Date.
With that. Good cut.
Edit that.
So we finish at Prescot on the 25th of March, and
Yep.
we start in Scarborough on the 30th of March, running through to the 15th of April.
And that's at the...
And that's at the Stephen Joseph Theatre, the SJT, right opposite the railway station. You can't miss it.
Very close.
That's brilliant. Well, I think we've covered a lot of things there.
We could go on for hours.
We could go on forever.
But these guys have got a call at 5:30.
Yeah, they have
the
got a
show
call at
tonight.
5:30. They've got shows and they're very busy people. But before they go, I want to see if they understand any of this.
Oh,
That's what we were saying.
And
We
this-
could ask you to translate some of our badges.
I will.
Here we go.
Well, okay. I'm going to show them to the camera.
okay.
Right, okay, you see that there. Okay. So I'd like you to say that in a Prescot accent and tell us what it means.
Oh, in an old-fashioned Prescott accent.
Come on.
Go on.
Give one to Ollie, then one to David.
God, yeah,
And
sure,
we'll
then.
do
Okay,
the
yes.
sequence.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Was on the other side, any road up street.
Wow. Brilliant.
Well done. Outstanding. We'll get the clapometer up on screen
And
while you're reading it.
what does it mean, do you think?
What do you think that means?
Side, any road up street.
Was on the other side. On the other
So, any road.
street.
If
Yeah.
a Prescotian said that to you, what would you think they were referring to?
Houses. I don't know.
What are they referring to?
I'm going to tell you. We'll tell you in the video, and we'll ask people to write.
Yeah.
Well, Prescotians will know exactly what that means.
Right.
We'll pass it on.
Right.
I've got.
Which one have you got?
I've got. All right. Get up to our wooden lot, you lot.
Yay!
I actually know what that one is.
Someone
I think,
told you. Somebody.
I think it means get upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Okay, let's go again. I'll just show you first. Okay. And you can go have that one.
And the winning
Is that that one?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
show you that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Do you want to go first? Or
Yours is short.
Put call in hall.
Yay!
Put Colin Hall.
Ah.
I'm assuming it just put the coal in the coal basket or in the coal hole.
Yeah, but it's got to have another breed.
Yeah.
It's slang. It's not actually.
Oh, right.
Or it can
Get
actually
food down
mean-
here. There you are.
Coal in hot. Or
So it can mean both, can't it?
put the coal on the fire.
Because the
You
coal
can
on mainly,
put the coal on.
or in the bundle.
You know the coal.
You were there. You were there.
In the or in the.
I thought it was some kind of. Oh no, never mind. I thought it was well, I assumed it was something else because all the other ones have been something else. As in, like, put coal in hole meant like get a bite of beer or something. Well, it's not. So, sorry. Anyway, oh God, you've got this on your badge.
Yeah.
He's been around and played bloody Hamlet with me.
Yes, that's a nice one.
That's not bad.
That's a nice.
Nice.
He's been round and played bloody Hamlet with me.
I think it means he's been round and had a go at me.
Spot
That's what it means.
That's what it means.
Hamlet.
Yeah, that's very good. You're doing good on this. Very good, very good. And we'll just do two more, and I'll just show you that. You can have that, and
Have you got
show you
time for
that.
two more?
Two more, and that's it.
Just
We'll
he keeps on
two more.
beating me. That's the only
Okay.
problem.
Been up brewed to make a few bob at Suggies.
Oh, nice.
See if I can get. Say it again.
Been up brewed to make a few bob at Suggies.
That's perfect. Wow.
That's good.
That's a good one.
That's a very good accent.
Good accent there.
You can tell he's an actor.
You can also tell he's from the northwest. It really bloody helps. I'll tell you that much.
We're in thespian heaven today.
Been up brewed to make a few bob at Suggies. So, make a few bob at Suggies, make a few shirts, so make some money.
At Suggies.
Been up brew.
Been up brew.
Been up brew.
Been up morning. Been up no.
Been up brew.
I've been to the pub.
You'll
I've been to the pub.
Prescotians will be laughing their socks off at
That
this.
means been up
Yeah. Bin up brew.
What? No.
Shall we
Should we tell
you?
them? Yeah, because they've
Don't leave us hanging.
off of it right.
Brew means up steep hill.
Up a steep hill.
Up steep hill, making a few bob, making some money at Suggies.
Yeah.
Suggies
Used to be. You might not
was
know
a
the
scrap
Suggies, but-
merchant in Prescott, and everybody knows Suggies.
You go.
If you
Well,
don't,
you did get it, making
but
some
anyone
money.
who,
Yeah.
if you mention Suggies to anyone in Prescott, they know exactly where they are. You wouldn't. That would be difficult. But you did well.
Well, that was the challenge.
Right, so you're going to share this without. I also love the pictures behind. You're missing all the good pictures.
Yeah,
Giving me
it's true.
hints, I might get one back.
Go on.
Going for a jangle, women in. Going for a jangle, women in.
Going for a jangle with
I really like it.
Going
a jangle with
for a jangle, women in. Going for a walk or something with my nana. Or a dance. Is jangle a dance?
See, I can honestly say, Prescotians, you don't know how unique you are. as far as your language is
With me-
concerned.
with me-
Our language is
Have you
concerned.
not
Nin,
heard-
is Nin not Nan? Is
Yeah,
Nin Nana?
that's
Yeah.
right.
all right.
That's
So now I just have to work out what a jangle
Isn't going shopping with your nan?
See, right, and he's from here, so you can't.
Going for a jangle, you know, your wallet, a jangle.
Bullshit. That looks like you're putting the keys in the ball. That's a very different thing.
Jangle, as in, should we give them a hint?
What?
It's no, it's well, we'll tell you. It's a gossip. It's a
gossip.
good have a chat.
Oh, go for
A jangle
with
is a
nan.
jangling jangle.
But in old
Jangle
Lancastrian terms, the
Yeah.
jangle was generally they're having a gossip.
Oh yeah, going for
Some
jangle.
neighbour in the
Yeah, we'll
street.
have a talk.
Yeah.
We'll have a talk to me.
Have a
now.
chat. Yeah.
Me in.
Perfect.
That's it.
Women in.
So yeah.
What's is that? What the?
What have you got?
Right.
Get naughty with me.
Oh, don't get naughty.
Don't get naughty.
Don't get naughty.
What's that one?
Don't
I think that's don't get narky would be the Scouse equivalent, would it? Don't get
Kind of.
narky.
Yeah,
No?
kind of.
No.
don't be cheeky.
Don't be cheeky.
Or don't get naughty.
Or
is
naughty. Or
none of your cheek.
Yeah.
Basically,
It's
don't
like
get
an elder
naughty.
member saying it to a younger
Yeah.
member.
Yeah. That's put wood
Put wood and tool.
Yeah.
in door.
That's
That's similar to the
Yeah.
other one.
That's your other one.
And-
And the final one.
He's a woman.
Oh, he's a
woman.
he's a rumman. Would be that if he's rum, then that means either he's a good laugh, or he's a bit too fond of the old drink.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm making.
You are, he is
no,
making it up. He's it's like Shakespeare, he's just
See
making up
what I mean?
words.
These actors, you know, they make things up.
This is how they make
You
their
know,
living.
it's the world they live in. If they write
we
it and
convince
if they
you?
say it, then it becomes real. So,
Go on, he's a woman.
he's
So
a
the final
he's a
one,
woman.
he's a
It's the
woman.
final one. It means he's a right character.
Yeah.
He's a woman. He's a you know.
Yeah.
He's
Bit of a wide
he's a
boy.
woman. Wide boy. He's a character. So that's
Right.
great. Well done. You passed
Brilliant.
the Prescottian test. You are now.
You did. I didn't. I didn't.
Well, in my opinion,
You're
you're
both-
honorary Prescottian.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking part in this chat. It's been most entertaining.
Yeah,
you.
And
really, really.
I hope that
Loved it.
you've enjoyed that, and you will get to see Comedy of Errors more or less in Scarborough.
Barbara. Yeah. So book your tickets
Yeah.
now.
If not, just get down here. They've got all the Shakespeare, but we should have told.
Just get down here. I'll
They've got
try and-
Shakespeare North birthday coming up. It's the birthday of Shakespeare. They've got loads of kind of workshops
Yeah, they
and
have.
stuff you can get on stage and
Exactly,
do things.
yeah.
Got loads of stuff coming
Yeah.
up, loads of plays, loads of stuff in the studio. So,
Yeah.
or just come down.
So
and
come to
see these
Shakespeare
two. They'll be
North.
sat there
That's
having a
right.
coffee.
We'll be here.
great and have a crack with them. We've
talk a load of nonsense. So thanks for watching, and leave
will-
your comments below. Subscribe to the channel.
But you
like,
should be doing it in a Lancaster accent.
like the channel.
Subscribe,
blah
like.
blah blah, and all that stuff, all that gear.
You know,
And-
you know the
and,
drill
yeah.
now.
And we'll see you in the future.
In the next one.
In another 6 months' time, because it's been 6 months since we've done a chat here.
Yeah.
We'll see you for another chat in another 6 months,
Bye bye.
possibly, or less. See you soon.